All right.
Visited some schools in Africa before, not just in Western Africa, and I noticed that when I read the textbooks that children here read, what did they teach you? If you read at the textbook, many of those textbooks are published in France, are manufactured by French companies, or they sponsor all this kind of publication. Read those books. What are they teaching your children? Your children learn more about European history than they know about your African heritage. This is the same problem in America about Black Americans. They go to school, they learn more about Western civilization than they know anything about African history. In fact, having been in Africa for some years now, I know more about Black people than the Black people in America know about themselves. If you ask Black people in America about their heritage, they don't know much of anything. They cannot even speak any of the languages. The only language that they learn is English. And the food that they eat is American food. And many of the things that they do, they don't know anything. And when they go to Africa, they think that they are American, they look down on the Africans. You see that now? That's a colonial mindset now.
So how do we get it?
Many of those children, when they finish school, they look up toward the outside power as the superior one, and they are the inferior one, because that's how they teach you. You are inferior, you are backward. So every time when they do something, they look up to Paris or any the major powers to copy everything. How can you develop? There's the post-colonial system to control you, to dominate you, and you continue to behave like that, to welcome that, and your children continue to think like that. Every time here in Africa, when they have a problem, the solution that they seek are always a solution copied from the West. But how can you progress if you always like this? You are perpetuating the same system. It's not colonial anymore, but it's post-colonial, neo-colonial. You should get rid of that. How do you do that? I think that each country has a different condition to do, and certainly some of the things that you should do is that you should get rid of all those textbooks.
Okay.
There are many things that you need to do. Okay, and the second thing, which is not about the colonial one, which is that education is not valued in Africa as they are valued, let's say, in China, in Japan. Education for thousands of years in China has received such a kind of veneration in China. Everyone looks up to education as like God. In Africa, education is not God. Football is God. Football is God in Africa. Look at how much time they spend here watching football. Children play football on the street.
And how much money?
And how much money they have spent on that too. Even if they have a ball, they use a bottle of water, use something. And you go to bars, restaurants, cafe, everywhere you go, stores. Every time you have a TV on, what is on the screen? It's always football games. And how much time and energy that they spend on watching football. But why do you spend all this time learning mathematics, physics, chemistry, engineering? Do you care about that? They don't care. But in China, in Japan, some children, when they fail examination, some of them kill themselves. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because it's so serious. Education for them is very important. It's like something which is honorable, something which is good. In those countries, to be honorable, to be good for children, you have to be good in school, in class.